Today's webinar is going to be the Compliance Cohesion, collaboration across campus, maximizing your compliance enrollment reporting. Today's content highlights the critical importance and link between financial aid administration on campus and enrollment reporting to the National Student Clearinghouse. By design, Clearinghouse enrollment reporting process and resources are intended to support schools meet their Title IV compliance reporting needs with the NSLDS, also known as the National Student Loan Data System, and loan servicers. This is meant to be very broad. We have a lot of presentations and webinars that are available in our Clearinghouse Academy that go into detail with a lot of the information that's presented today. So this is meant to show the joint effort between financial aid administration as well as enrollment reporting, because in some cases it's not handled by the same person or the same office. For an institution administering federal financial aid and institutions offering Title IV eligible programs, there are a variety of post-secondary influencers that shape and contribute to existing school policy and procedures. So school policy and procedure influencers could be system level offices, state boards, institutional research and effectiveness, financial aid administrators, registrars and academics, senior administrators, as well as federal and local bodies. Each group can contribute to framing of both policies and day-to-day procedures. For this reason, establishing clear and concise policies and procedures across campus that align with Title IV federal guidelines can support consistent, compliant enrollment reporting to the clearinghouse. Basically, the way that the information is being viewed by the different entities, so financial aid and the registrar's office, there needs to be consistency on what each thing means. For example, what is a status effective date? What would financial aid consider a status effective date for a student who is withdrawn? And there should be the same answer for both the departments, financial aid and registrars. They should be viewing that in the same manner and using the same date. Federal regulation influence on the enrollment reporting process. Clearinghouse's enrollment reporting service parameters and design support compliance with NSLDS requirements. The Clearinghouse Enrollment Reporting Error Resolution on the web, also known as ERW, error and warning logic help to avoid a variety of NSLDS SSCR, also known as Student Status Confirmation Report, roster distribution errors, and encourage proper data flow for your Title IV students. Since 2013, Title IV compliance reporting expectations continue to evolve. Adapting to these changes is essential to meet compliance reporting needs. This timeline is significant and notable changes to federal enrollment compliance reporting. Over the past several years, requirements and change requests have increased in both frequency and complexity. 1997 to 2010 was kind of a quiet period where there wasn't significant adjustments to Title IV enrollment compliance reporting. 2011 marks the year when enrollment reporting change requirements began rolling out. Some notable changes are going to be in 2014, NSLDS required more frequent SSCR roster distributions at least every other month. End of 2014 was the rollout of the 150% direct loan limit regulations, requiring a significant change to the format where institutions had to report program level enrollment for Title IV, in addition to overall campus level enrollment. In 2015, NSLDS created a program level statistics score referred to as the NSLDS Enrollment Reporting Statistics, which directly relates to the 150% direct loan limit enrollment reporting format. This score is a metric for evaluating program level reporting completeness and consistency. In 2017, NSLDS incorporated compliance letters to issue to specific schools with a statistics score below NSLDS's threshold. The default threshold is 90% certified with program enrollment. And most recently in 2020, this is the first transition from the SIP year code list, while 150% program level reporting was a requirement. Approximately every 10 years, there's a revised SIP code list. For this change, that potential impact to individual school varies and impacts, and it's dependent on program tracks offered in relation to the edits between 2010 SIP year and 2020 SIP year lists. We've covered the major NSLDS compliance changes. Now let's take a look at the distinct Title IV compliance considerations. There are 5 distinct Title IV compliance considerations that drive and frame Clearinghouse unique enrollment reporting service design. The SSCR, again, it's the Student Status Confirmation Report, is completed at least every 2 months. The next one is SSCRs must be returned to NSLDS within 15 days of receipt. The clearinghouse is committed as a servicer to respond to the SSCR roster's distribution timely. The next portion of it is going to be correct the SSCRs within 10 days of receipt. The majority of clearinghouse schools do not experience SSCR errors. However, in the event errors are presented, SSCR errors are posted on the clearinghouse secure site with an NSE due date for the school to correct errors. Next, report status changes within 60 days of the date of determination. Report status changes swiftly once the institution determines a student's status increased or decreased. By sending status changes to the clearinghouse, this ensures timely data flow from the clearinghouse to the NSLDS for status increase and decreases within 60 days of the school determining a student increased or decreased in status. The date of determination is the date that the institution became aware of the enrollment status change. For this reason, and to meet the frequency expectation to an SSCR at least every 2 months, Clearinghouse has an SSCR roster scheduled monthly and advises schools to report to the Clearinghouse every 30 to 45 days. Clearinghouse recommends you submit an enrollment file every 30 to 45 days. And rather than having the SSCR roster set up for every other month for institutions, we receive a roster monthly for each institution, and this is designed to maintain schools' compliance as well as to maintain that status change within 60 days of the date of determination. And finally, the enrollment reporting statistics score threshold, you must be reporting 90% or greater for your program reporting. So the enrollment reporting statistics score threshold must be met. NSLDS default score is to have at least 90% of program enrollment certified by the NSLDS. Clearinghouse has dedicated on-demand resources on the Clearinghouse Academy page online to support maintaining a compliant statistics score. This score is NSLDS metric or measurement of the completeness, accuracy, and consistency of program level enrollment for Title IV students. Now we're going to go over the compliance enrollment reporting bundled record for NSLDS compliance. And so what are the data points required for enrollment reporting compliance? NSLDS format is a bundle concept. For each student, there is a 001, a 002, and 003 record type. The 002 record type is a program level enrollment and relates to the NSLDS enrollment reporting statistics score. To ensure consistent enrollment reporting program updates, the school makes to COD, also known as Common Origination and Disbursement, for aid packaging should align with program level enrollment reporting to the clearinghouse. For example, if a program is offered in years and reported this way in COD, it is expected that enrollment reporting in the program should be reported in years as well. So if financial aid reports the COD in years for the program, then the program, when reported to the clearinghouse, should also be reflected in years as well. And this avoids any sort of confusion with the information, and it'll increase the statistics score for your institution because there's a common program level information there and there's no discrepancies. This is a breakdown of the 002 record type portion of the bundle. So a program track or major to report to the clearinghouse consists of a unique combination of these criteria. So the OPEID, which is the Department of Education's Office of Post-Secondary Education Identifier, the SIP code, which is the classification of instructional program, the SIP year, the credential level, program length and measurement, and for programs reported in weeks or months, the weeks is in Title IV academic year. Now we're going to go over the data flow from the school to the clearinghouse. Because schools must certify enrollment to NSLDS at least every 2 months, Clearinghouse has a monthly NSLDS roster scheduled for your institution. Due to the NSLDS frequency requirements, Clearinghouse recommends schools report an enrollment file to the Clearinghouse every 30 to 45 days. Clearinghouse sends an email reminder about the schedule of the enrollment files to help avoid frequency and timeliness issues. In the event you assess there could be changes to your enrollment reporting schedule, there are on-demand resources to assist with revising your schedule located on the Clearinghouse Academy page on our site. There's one key thing here, evergreen schedule. You might be asking yourself what that means. Basically, what Evergreen is that if you submit your file today and it's scheduled for today, what will happen is it'll rotate to the next year, same day, same information there. So it just rolls over year after year. And you're able to go in and update that schedule as you see fit. So staying on track, Clearinghouse compliance emails, because Clearinghouse sends emails alerting about the enrollment reporting schedule and status of an enrollment file submitted, please do keep your contact lists up to date. Clearinghouse sends emails to the registrar, financial aid director role types, as well as the submission data and submission data alternate when it's in regards to an enrollment file. Please keep the contact list up to date so that the right people are getting the information there so that they're aware. Let's walk through enrollment reporting from the school to the clearinghouse. Step one is extract the snapshot enrollment data from your student information system, better known as the SIS. This is a snapshot of the student certified enrollment at the time of extraction. Typically, if you're going to extract the data today at 217, it's going to be up to 217. So whatever the time frame is, that's going to be the snapshot. It's not going to capture anything after that 217 or whenever you run the process. It would be right there. And again, it's a snapshot, it's not live data at the time. Typically, schools use the Clearinghouse Secure FTP site, Secure File Transfer Protocol, that's what FTP stands for, to send the scheduled enrollment transmission for review and processing. Step two is once Clearinghouse is in receipt of the enrollment file, the data set passes through a series of compliance error and warning logic. Any errors/warnings that are present are posted to the ERW or the error resolution report on the web for the school to take action or review. Step three is the assigned data operations analyst reviews corrections and will reach out to you if there are any questions or clarification needed before the file is processed or merged into the clearinghouse enrollment system. Step four, the clearinghouse analyst process the enrollment file. And finally, step five, once the enrollment file is processed, this enrollment data is available for loan servicing and for the NSLDS SSCR roster distribution process for Title IV students. That's one of the key points right here. When we're responding to the roster, we're only responding with the most recently merged certified data. So if a file has not been processed yet, and if it's posted to the website for review and for correction, then that data is not going to flow over to NSLDS, that updated data. We would send the most recently merged certified data before, so it could be last month's information. That's one key thing to know is that we're only sending the most recently merged certified data on those SSCR roster distributions. Now we're going to go over data flow from the clearinghouse to the NSLDS and the loan servicers. Once the enrollment file is processed in the clearinghouse, the data is available for the NSLDS SSCR roster distribution for Title IV students and to loan servicers. Clearinghouse typically receives the SSCR roster distributions the first business day of the month and responds within 1 to 2 days of receipt. This meets the NSLDS requirement to respond within 15 days. It could be longer than the 1 to 2 days, but our commitment to our participating schools is to respond within the 15 days allotment there. For any student previously on NSLDS SSCR rosters that have newly certified enrollment at your school, Clearinghouse submits this current information to the NSLDS on a supplemental ads file. The submittal ads process ensures Title IV students who are not requested by the NSLDS are pushed to NSLDS for consideration to be added back on to the SSCR roster distribution. And so that means that any student who's had SSCR history within the past 10 years, then we will respond or push out that information on our supplemental ads process to see if NSLDS needs that student. Most clearinghouse schools do not experience SSCR errors. However, if SSCR errors occur, clearinghouse sends an email to alert school users with information to assist with correcting the errors. Errors are presented on the clearinghouse secure site under the student reporting tab. So it's student reporting tab, enrollment reporting link, and then the NSLDS reporting tab. Enrollment reporting compliance impacts, inconsistencies in enrollment reporting, enrollment status code definitions. If there's a discrepancy on how a registrar defines the enrollment status of withdrawn and how financial aid will define withdrawn status student. That's going to cause some issues with it. So there needs to be consistency between the departments on what that is and typically what the Title IV impact are. Data point conflicts, so social security discrepancies, permanent student address is something that we've seen come up a lot recently. Data flow disruptions, either to borrower and grant student issues, SSCR errors, and NSLDS enrollment reporting statistics score not meeting that 90% threshold. All right, mitigating enrollment compliance reporting risks. It's common for schools to send enrollment files to the clearinghouse out of the office of the registrar, while financial aid office usually have access to the NSLDS to view data points within NSLDS. Consistent data points across all areas can help avoid data discrepancy. Data points in the school course catalog, student information system, financial aid updates in COD, and enrollment reporting to the clearinghouse can promote proper reporting and avoid surprises in enrollment data. Having clear agreement about enrollment status code definition and consistent reporting supports compliance. Status changes like graduated, approved a leave of absence, and withdrawn, along with status effective dates for these status changes, can mitigate audit and compliance risks. So we're trying to really hammer home that there needs to be agreement between the departments, so financial aid and registrar and anybody else who has vested interest for Title IV aid students or administering the Title IV aid. There needs to be an agreement with what those definitions mean. What is a graduated status? What is a withdrawn status? What status effective date would you use? There needs to be consistency between those departments. A critical key data point in enrollment reporting is the social security number. This is going to be the main point. If it's incorrect, things can go wrong. It's really that the social security number and it being correct is important for Title IV and reporting information to the clearinghouse as well as to NSLDS. SSN is a requirement for federal aid and load students. For the NSLDS, they require a social security number for proper data flow on the SSCR roster distribution process and for loan servicing. Institutions can help ensure accurate social security number reporting to the clearinghouse by having a clear vetting practice on campus to ensure aid recipient students are reported with a valid social security number. Also, more recently, as of 2020, financial aid auditors are focusing more on student address reported. The big takeaway was to report a permanent address that is not a local or school temporary address, as well as if a student's address is changed, the student address changed from permanent to permanent, it still falls under that 60-day timeliness clock as well. So that's something that we've seen come up in this past audit cycle. Let's go back and take a closer look at the Social Security number reporting. Clearinghouse enrollment reporting or database is designed to avoid data reporting issues related to Social Security numbers. There's a dedicated area on the Clearinghouse Secure site to review for Social Security number discrepancies each time an enrollment file is processed in Clearinghouse. Also, you receive an email notification once an enrollment file has been processed that provides you instructions on how to get over to this screen here. So the schools are aware or they get the email letting them know. So once logged into Secure Site, review of the clearinghouse site's reject detail each time a file is processed to review and address any federal student aid students with Social Security number conflicts. If an aid recipient or student benefiting from federal financial aid has Social Security number, vet the Social Security number and be sure it's accurate in the student information system and enrollment reporting files to the clearinghouse. To view the enrollment reporting reject detail, you would just log into the clearinghouse website by using the user login link. You'll click on the student reporting tab. You'll click on the enrollment reporting link, and then it'll bring you to this page right here, which will have the different sections here. And then you would select the transmission history tab. And once you're there, you would click on the detail link associated with the enrollment file that's been processed. And you'll want to click on the school review tab on the next list and review any students that are rejected from the enrollment file that may need attention there. Some of the most common errors on your reject detail are going to be the error code 253 and 290, which are related to Social Security number conflicts. They are typically due to a clerical error. Error 253 indicates it's the first time reporting the student that was rejected due to a social security number conflict. Error 290 indicates it's a consecutive time reporting the student for a student who was rejected due to a social security number conflict. To vet the social security number in this scenario, you'll want to consult with financial aid or other official documentation to verify the social security number in the student information system and report it to the clearinghouse is correct. If the social security number is correct, you can submit an online update to the clearinghouse. Under the student lookup tab, you would click the link, you'd search the student by the social, and then you would click on the add student link. If the student is a loan or federal grant recipient and their prior terms of enrollment or previous enrollment status increases or decreases, you may need to build missing campus level and program level enrollment in the NSLDS, in addition to submitting a clearinghouse online update via the add student link. So if a student is 290 and they're being rejected multiple times through multiple terms, or if they're a student who was in a lower status and increased into a higher status, or in a higher status and decreased into a lower status, those students may require financial aid, or if you have access to the NSLDS website, to update those students or add those students onto the NSLDS website as well, so that the missing enrollment information is there. Because we only respond with the most recently merged information, we're not sending like a stacked record of the entire enrollment history of a student. Right now, this is what our recommendation would be. If the social security number is incorrect, you would want to update your student information system with the accurate social security number, and then build any missing enrollment in NSLDS as needed to reflect the accurate social security number on future enrollment reporting to the clearinghouse. NSLDS SSCR errors. SSCR error correction is a Title IV compliance requirement. Clearinghouse alerts schools if there are SSCR errors with resources and instructions on the Clearinghouse secure site. You would log into the Clearinghouse website using the user login link. Again, you'd go to the Student Reporting tab, Enrollment Reporting link, and then you would click on the NSLDS Reporting tab. The current NSLDS originator row list is the current actionable SSCR errors in the NSC, so it would be a current NSC due date. Those are going to be the ones that you would want to work on. You don't want to go back in time and work on last month's or last year's SSCR errors. If the student's not showing up as a consistent SSCR error, then that means that they were resolved on one of your subsequent reports. You don't want to go back in time because it could cause data flow issues. NSLDS SSCR errors are associated with the NSLDS SSCR roster distribution process and are different from the data intake clearinghouse ERW, or error resolution on the web. So there are differences. So the SSCR errors are a response from NSLDS with the data flow from your school to the clearinghouse to NSLDS. Whereas the ERW, or the errors that you receive on your enrollment files, are going to be from your institution to the clearinghouse and us kicking them back out over to you to review. The vast majority of SSCR errors should be updated within the clearinghouse and not directly in NSLDS. This will avoid additional SSCR errors related to the certification date issues. Again, that would be SSCR error code 32, and it also avoids overriding the data that's within NSLDS. This is going to be a screen that shows you right here the enrollment reporting and what this page would look like. The clearinghouse presents the NSLDS roster errors on the secure portal. There are resource links on this page with information about the error code presented and how to resolve. If there's questions about specific SSCR errors, you can contact SSCR errors at studentclearinghouse.org, and they'll be happy to assist you with any sort of questions that you do have. The clearinghouse originator row is that supplemental ads process file that we were talking about. You want to review it and take action if required or if needed. If they are benefiting from aid, you do want to address the error. So that's going to be one key thing there. They are outside of the compliance requirement that correct them in a certain amount of days. It's outside of that, but it is something that you still want to review because they are students that we're pushing over to NSLDS. And if they're becoming an SSCR error, that means that NSLDS is not accepting those students. So just take a look at those students and just make sure that are they benefiting from federal aid and they need to be on the roster for NSLDS. We'll just want to make sure that those are corrected. SSCR error code 32, we're going to go over a little bit of some of the common ones that we've seen over the past couple months. So this one's fairly common. So what is the SSCR error code? The certification on the record being reported from the clearinghouse is before the certification date of the record on NSLDS and the anticipated graduation date, the enrollment status or enrollment status effective date is different from the record last reported to NSLDS. This is generally due to updates being made directly to NSLDS that are not reflected in the clearinghouse database. It is of critical importance that your school works directly with the clearinghouse to ensure consistency across the data included in the clearinghouse's and NSLDS's database. Update the status and status start date appropriately. If the student shows active and inactive statuses with the same enrollment status effective date, this error code will also be flagged. Again, this is typically caused by direct updates to NSLDS made by the school for Title IV students. To avoid data being overwritten by mismatched data in the clearinghouse and certification date issues presented with SSCR error code 32, updating clearinghouse with enrollment status changes will mitigate Title IV and compliance risks. In some cases, the SSCR errors and the enrollment reporting is kind of siloed within the registrar's office, and then financial aid is doing their thing with administering the financial aid, as well as updating COD, updating NSLDS. There should be communication between the two departments when you see these SSCR Error 32s, because what you don't want to happen is that financial aid is making an update within NSLDS to either do an unofficial withdrawal, retroactive withdrawal, or something compliance driven, and then you just go in and just say, oh yeah, this student is a full-time status student right now. We're going to resubmit and just recertify the data. You want to make sure the reason why they're showing up as a 32, you research that information and again, have some communication with financial aid because there might be something that they were doing through NSLDS to make that student become an SSCR error code 32 that might need to be relayed through the enrollment reporting process. SSCR error code 82, this is going to be kind of a newer one and it relates to the new SIP code 2020. So it relates to the SIP year part of the bundled enrollment record, which is a 002 record type. So a school cannot certify a program with a pre-2020 SIP year when the same program already exists with this 2020 SIP year. So a non-2020 SIP year program reported in the program level record 002 is the same program with a 2020 SIP year in the same bundle. The non-2020 SIP year program reported in the program level record 002 already exists with a 2020 SIP year on NSLDS. 2020 SIP year program reported in the program level record 002 has the same program identifiers as multiple non-2020 SIP year, so 2000, 2010 programs on NSLDS current program reported with 2020 SIP year in the program identifier change or the 004 record is the same program reported as new program with a non-2020 SIP year, typically caused by direct NSLDS web updates made by the school for the Title IV students. That's a lot of information right there. Basically, the way to sum it up is that the error code 82s are typically going to be happening when NSLDS is requesting a 2020 program and we respond with a 2010. So there's a discrepancy with the information there. So we release an enhancement for phase 2, which should resolve a lot of the things there because we're starting to be able to accept all of the SIP year 2020. If you do see these SSCR error code error 82, they should start diminishing. They should be legitimate ones that are there under the NSLDS reporting row or originator row. If you have any questions or if you experience the SSCR error code 82, you can reach out to SSCR errors at studentclearinghouse.org, and then they can help you and walk through the errors and what the best approach would be. The NSLDS Enrollment Reporting Statistics Score, consistent program reporting, also known as the major courses of study, and addressing SSCR errors as they occur both help ensure the NSLDS statistics score accurately reflects your Title IV students' program enrollment. NSLDS has the evaluation period for that statistics score. I believe is the third Wednesday of every month. The evaluation period is not just for the month. It's a longer spread out evaluation period. We recommend monitoring your NSLDS enrollment reporting statistics score that is published monthly by NSLDS. This page can be accessed by logging into the NSLDS website. If there are questions once you review your NSLDS statistics score, Clearinghouse has resources including a blog and webinar about the score, and you can reach out to us at any time with score questions. at auditresource@studentclearinghouse.org. If you have enrollment and degree reporting questions, you can send the email to schoolops@studentclearinghouse.org. Audit and compliance and SLDS statistics, reach out to auditresource@studentclearinghouse.org. NSLDS SSCR errors, you can send an email to sscrerrors@studentclearinghouse.org. General questions, you can send over to service@studentclearinghouse.org. Again, just to touch back on that audit and compliance, it's a completely free service to schools, and we can assist you if there's any questions that auditors have or that you have and you're going through your audit. You can definitely reach out to us and we can help you, and just look over the test sample students and see what we see about the information that's there. The clearinghouse is here for you. If you have any questions, you can always contact us.